Good afternoon, Anne.
Good afternoon, James.
And good afternoon, everybody. If you have been waiting patiently for this Sunday Vibes podcast to come out, thank you for waiting. It is the afternoon. We are actually recording from a hospital. Extenuating circumstances to be explained at another time. But we are actually in a hospital room recording. A bit of mystery there for you as well. But all is well. All is very, very well. So, are you happy to begin, Anne?
I am happy
Brilliant.
to begin,
Well, where would you like to start this afternoon?
I'd like just to say, first of all, that if you hear any noises or anybody comes into the room, that's why, we won't start. We're just, we're not expecting anybody to, but just in case.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're in the hospital room, so it is quite private. But it's me talking about my experience with James.
Yeah.
He would talk about his own experience, but my experience in coming into the hospital, which was in very, very early hours of the morning, is the chaos. And we hear about it. We hear about A&E. We hear about the way the health service is run. But we don't experience it. And I'm beginning to think that maybe we don't think about things enough. We only think about what we've heard. We don't always experience things in life.
True.
Yet we have an opinion.
Yes.
That's every one of us. That's
Absolutely,
me. That's
yes.
me as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's making me come to the conclusion that maybe we should stop our opinions and look first.
Yes.
This has happened to us at this time of the year. It's been happening to us in many ways at the moment, as we've said, from India, is that we all think we're going into something with the thoughts in our head, and we have a pre-set opinion.
Yeah.
Me coming into the hospital was already set.
So people hold too many prejudices.
I think so.
Prejudgments about life.
Yes.
And we're not going off direct experience.
Yes.
And we're denying sometimes our direct experiences because of our prejudgments.
Yes.
Have I understood that correctly?
That's correct, yes.
Yes, I would say that is broadly true. I think that happens a lot in life. Health, like education, like the economy, like many things in life that are universally experienced by every one of us to varying degrees and in different ways, is an issue and topic that everybody does have experience of and therefore an opinion of as well to some extent. So I don't think it's going to be totally different, but we can definitely, with wisdom, apply our own direct experiences, for better or for worse, in the sharing of our stories and anecdotes and advice and complaints and criticisms and celebrations and everything that we do, not just you and I and everybody in life, with each other rather than what we've heard or what somebody else has heard, and that we are sharing as much as possible primary sources of information, and we are as honest and as open about it as we can be.
And that's how I feel exactly the same as that. But what it's made me think about is that obviously the health service has become enormous.
Yes, it's something enormous. Like, I may be incorrect about this exactly, but it's something like the 5th largest public company entity. Now, it may not be called that globally, but in terms of an organisation to work for, it's something like the 5th largest in the world. It may not be that. I'm going off the top of my head. Either way, it's ginormous, and it's an absolute behemoth of an organisation.
So what you're saying there is how enormous it has become. But the word that stands out for me there is organisation.
Yes.
And that's scary. For me, that's scary. Okay. Because obviously with my background, when it was matrons and individual hospitals that were run individually, and cottage hospitals where people could go, but casualty, because I was on casualty for 2 years, everything then was 24/7. Now, you would say the same for hospitals now, they're 24/7, but they're not actually. I'm surprised that how little staff there are at certain times, like Christmas,
Yes.
weekends. There's limited amount of, and especially qualified staff like consultants, doctors, people like that.
Yeah.
It's a limited amount. Whereas in my day, it wasn't limited. It was the shifts which just went on continuous.
Right. So there is a difference there.
There's a complete difference because there was no staff ever laid off. It was a continuous run.
Yeah.
Like a factory in a way.
Right.
In a factory.
Yeah.
So if somebody had time off, somebody had to step in.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shortage of staff. Somebody had to step in immediately.
So the workforce was always there or thereabouts, a
Yes.
certain number.
Yes.
And there is a definite difference at the weekend, I do know, in hospitals where there is a reduced workforce.
Yes.
Now, I do know that many outpatient clinics are not running at the weekends, or they're certainly vastly reduced. And that's part of the staff levels dropping. And I imagine that casualty in A&E operates the same. I'm guessing this. I'm trusting that this is so. Weekends and
Yes.
weekdays alike in terms of its shifts and the amount of people on call and on shift. But there is a definite difference between
Yes.
who is present in the hospital Monday to Friday and who isn't, as far as health professionals, doctors,
Yes.
nurses and such. Yes, that's true.
But
So you feel it would be better rather than there being a difference?
Yes.
Just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, a
Yes.
continual presence of everybody that needs to be there.
So it's like a factory.
Right, okay.
So my husband works at Shell for 30 years.
Yeah,
So his shifts were set at the beginning of the year, as everybody else's were, and that was continuous for everybody. So there was never a lesser number. That goes on for indefinitely, those shifts for every person. So in any business, you have to have the same amount of staff. But looking at it going through, I think it's far more difficult now than it was when I was, all those years ago, when I was observing it, working within it, is because we didn't have computers.
right.
And I've noticed, particularly this weekend when this has happened, that we're in the hospital now,
Yeah,
what I've noticed is that somebody was waiting for medication
yeah,
for a long time, which should have had it well before the time it was taken.
yeah,
And I went to inquire about the medication, and the gentleman on the, I don't know his position, so I'm saying gentleman, who I spoke to was on the computer and said, I'm dealing with it now, but look at this. To me, he said, look at this. And the computer was just all graphs.
yeah,
And he said, and I'm trying to work all this out, all these graphs out. Well, surely a medication is so simple that you can say to somebody, this is the prescription I need, and you used to write it.
yeah,
Now somebody has to go to a computer, put it through on a computer, that has to be printed,
yeah,
that then has to go to the pharmacy.
yeah,
The pharmacy's closed, so the nurse has to go and do it.
yeah.
For me, it seems hard work.
It's become too much red tape. Yeah, too bureaucratic.
Yeah.
Too procedural.
Mm.
Common sense is
Yeah.
not that common, is it?
No.
And I imagine that is most people's experience in life at the moment.
Yes.
And it's overcomplicated and overconvoluted.
But that's
the way it feels, and I'm sure most people, all of
Yeah.
you listening, I'm sure that in most cases this is how you're finding life, is it's overcomplicated.
Yes.
And a lot of it's unnecessary. And it's not just A to B anymore, it's A, D, E, F, G, Z,
Yes.
Y, W, B.
And we've got trustees, guardians, whether it's in education or in health. We've got trustees who are involved. People outside the hospital who are looking at how it's being run. And there doesn't seem to be a thread of communication. Now, you've been in education, there's not a thread of communication in education as well. The two main things in a country that I think should be run so efficiently.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody agrees.
So are we losing efficiency? That's the thing, isn't it? Individually even now.
That's a really good question, Anne. And probably the answer's, in simple terms, is probably yes. It's not easily answered in terms of exactly why and exactly what to do about it, but I am sure most people, in terms of we're looking at efficiency, productivity and output, which is one of those main drivers of the economy, and it comes up over and over and over again. Yes. One of the things that I recognise in life, and certainly, again, experiencing being in and around a hospital again, like you have, as I'm sure you all listening have had your experiences yourself or with your loved ones of hospitals and the healthcare system, and also education and everything in life, not just the public services, but everything in life to varying degrees in terms of what is working well and what isn't working well, is that there is an attitude, generally a sort of malaise of, it's not quite apathy, it's a nonchalance, where it's a rare individual where you meet somebody who's quick of thought and quick to action and does what they're going to do when they say they're going to do it, and if they can't, they explain it, and expectations are managed appropriately, and there is a genuine centre of care and consideration, whether it be a customer or a patient or a child or whomever. There definitely seems to be a quiet animosity, almost undercurrent, both from the public towards the workforce and the workforce towards the public, and we all play those roles differently depending on our jobs and in which environments we're in. But there is this very quiet, I would say at the moment, hostility, where there isn't cohesion and there isn't appreciation, generally speaking, and there is a nonchalance and a lack of goodwill and a lack of good practice and a lack of care and consideration, a shrugging of shoulders as a sort of, if there was a physical metaphor for it, a physical representation for it, would be just someone shrugging the shoulders. Neither to say yes or no, it's just, yeah. And that's the feeling that we're all swimming in. We're all kicking against that tide in a way. And there are some fabulous people who are working both in the healthcare service, in education, in all the public services, and in private industry, in shops and restaurants and factories and businesses and everything else across this country and around the world. But there is a general attitude that's setting in that is corrosive, and it is corrosive, and it can affect and does affect us all in different ways. And I feel that's the biggest shift. That's the biggest shift in terms of, if we're looking at an environment for work and providing services for people and private industry as well, and making a success of it without money being the one and only answer. And money's fundamentally important, but we can have and adopt a different attitude. And that isn't going to be perfect, and it isn't going to correct everything, and materially may not make that much difference at all, but experientially can make the world of difference. You can receive the same medication, but it can be delivered to you by two different doctors or nurses, but how they treat you makes you feel completely different. You can receive the same bushel of apples or bunch of bananas from the same greengrocer, but how they treat you can be worlds apart. You can receive and get the same haircut from two different hairdressers or barbers, but how they treat you can be worlds apart from how you feel. Now, you can pay the same for that haircut or for that bunch of bananas, and you receive the same medication from the doctor or nurse, but it's the experience part that I feel that is the fundamental part that can and needs to change fastest. And that's the part that's plummeting. And that's the part that all the negativity, all the cynicism, all the hate, all of the apathy and everything that's coming in, a disdain, a real corrosive energy that's coming in, a real corrosive thought pattern into life, that's what is eroding away the spirit almost of the country and of the world. And that's got to change, and that can change by how we treat people. And that doesn't require extra money, it requires a new attitude.
I agree with all those things you're saying, and I think and what it brings to mind is, as you're talking, is that what I've found in life in general,
Yeah.
whether it's governments, whether it's us as individual people, is that if you're very good at your job,
Yeah.
whether you've just cleaned your house or whether you're in work, practice in the work situation you're doing it, people are very quick to say, oh, you've got OCD.
Right, okay.
Which
Yeah.
surprises me. It's some people resent the people who are efficient these days. So have we become lazy by nature and thought? That it makes me wonder, is that, my mother would say, you never have idle hands. That's how I was brought up, with my grandmother as well. And my grandmother, when she was dying, they were bringing her wages, and she was in her 70s, and they brought her wages to the bed.
Yeah.
Because they had this work ethic, but they loved work.
Right.
What has gone is, I think what we need to bring back is that love, that love of your job.
Yeah.
That you want to do it well. That if you are cleaning a table in a restaurant, clean the table, wipe it down.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the actual status of your job. It's to do with, are you enjoying it? So when you wipe that table in a cafe, are you talking to the people at the next table?
Yeah.
We have to bring that bounce back. I think we've lost the British, I don't even know what word I can use for that. That we were well known for friendliness, for, with people.
Certainly in the north of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the whole of the United Kingdom, that's not fair, is it, to say?
Yeah.
But yes.
Humour, it was done with humour, wasn't it?
There was a sort of a gregarious warmth and camaraderie and a sense of can-do and a British bulldog spirit, I suppose.
Yes.
You're talking about a generational thing, I feel, that is definitely tied to you and your generation. And we all look up to it, and I say rightly so.
Yes.
Technology's got to play a huge part in this, and it's something that we've repeatedly spoken about, and I feel it's only worth mentioning now, just to tack it to what you were talking about, is the rise of the smartphone and the rise of the handheld device, I feel, has definitely had a huge impact, without doubt, on us all.
Yes.
And it has, both through physical means and through psychological means, and therefore emotional means as well, had an impact on how we think, how we behave, how we move or don't move, and that's implicated in our lives in all areas, our relationships, our work, everything.
Yes.
I'm talking about a human life, generally speaking, and that has played a huge role. So in the last 20 years, accelerated definitely in the last 10, 15 years, and it's accelerating every 6 months now, the exponential progression of this particular technology is eroding away human capability, really, for humans to physically do things and for humans to think. So machines come in and take human
brain
tasks.
cells, to be honest.
And now with the rise of technology and the cutting edge of artificial intelligence and moving, so they say, very quickly to OpenAI, where humans aren't really required to do the thinking tasks anymore. So the human brain and the human body are becoming redundant unless they can be repurposed. But I see that as an unnecessary step. It doesn't need to be repurposed if we continue and if we find the purpose within. So that has a large part to play with it. The amount of alcohol consumed has got to play a large part.
Yes.
That's one of the main differences between the times that you're talking about and now, although it seems to be declining now with the younger generations.
Good.
I do feel that there is a general
waking up
overconsumption of alcohol, and that has had a negative impact on how people physiologically are and psychologically are. That just wasn't prevalent in the 1950s, 60s, 70s. People drank alcohol, and I wasn't there, but not to the same extent.
There wasn't the lager. Lager's the
binge drinking culture,
the binge drinking,
and the bargain booze on the corner, and the alcohol at the supermarkets, and the attitude towards drink was very different. It was very different. It has morphed into much more of a daily practice and much more people drinking copious amounts frequently, particularly
Yes.
younger generations, but all generations are doing that to some extent, not everybody. And that has played a huge part. And I do think that that, over the last 10, 20, 30 years, has eroded away people's will to do good, will
Yes.
to contribute, will to serve.
Yes.
It's become more and more selfish. Now, technology and alcohol, and we could tack in there drugs and gambling and
Yes.
television and everything else. All of these can be used for good as well, and
Absolutely.
provide joy and relaxation and education and entertainment in life, and many of which I enjoy. So, this isn't,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned,
No.
a bar humbug, puritanical, anti-fun perspective.
Yes.
I hope it isn't coming across in such a way. It's gotten out of hand,
Yes.
and that we seem to be an ill-disciplined
Yes.
human race. Certainly in the United Kingdom, it's become consumeristic to the point of
Yeah.
gluttonous, and it's ugly to see and watch, and we all play a part in it to
Yeah.
a degree. And unless we say it as it is and accept responsibility for the way it is collectively, we can't really change it.
No, we can't.
And I'm not in any way, shape or form saying it from a place of condemnation or judgment in that way, but it is as it is, and there's a lot more to it. It's such a nuanced and complex issue, but at the heart of it is that the attitude of us all can
Yes.
change, and I suggest it does need to change if we want to experience life differently. We have to find that meaning, that purpose, that being inside, and who are we serving, and why do we get up in the morning, and who are we serving? Life is not about what is coming to us, but what are we going to, and who are we going to serve? And that can provide the most willpower, the most fuel for life, the most passion for life there can ever be. But no one can put it in you. I can't put it in anybody. And sometimes I have to remind myself as well. So I hope you all at least have a semblance of what I'm talking about, and feel that fire, feel that passion, and feel that desire to serve goodness in this world every single day, even if it is, or
Yes.
not even, I should never say that, especially when
Yes.
clearing away tables in a restaurant, or whatever it might be, because nothing is more important than
No.
any human contact. And every time we have contact, even if it's just to lock eyes or to passing glance with somebody or to share a smile, our human interactions with each other, both friends, family, strangers and foes, are so important. That's where we can set the tone of our humanity, direct the energy, bring the life that we want to live forth into this world. And if we let people pull it apart, it will be pulled apart.
Yes.
So we must make our stand together.
Funnily enough, I went out with my daughter last week. A few days ago, I went out with her.
Yeah.
And while we were out, her husband's retired. He retired. He's become of pensionable age. Now, he's had his own business for years. Started painting and decorating at 15, 16. Went through an apprenticeship till he was 21. The old-fashioned decorator and painter.
Yeah.
And very, very meticulous when he's working. And he's been saying, he said for many years, I'm going to retire. But he obviously has had to wait until now. Always wanted to retire, but has had customers, the same customers all the time, year after year. So his customers are all very old now. So he retired in November.
Okay.
October, it was November. So he was, I'm retiring, I'm not doing any work. This is what he said.
Yeah.
This is where we have to be very careful with words. So I go out, I've had my ceilings plastered, and James said to me, is Andy going to paint them? Because he's a very good painter, old-fashioned. So I said, well, I think he's retired. He's said all along, and he's always been definite, I am going to retire, I'm going to retire. Told all his customers. So I said to my daughter while we were out, has Andy definitely retired? Because I've just had my ceilings plastered and they need painting, and obviously I pay him for it. So she said, well, she said, funnily enough, Mum, he said to me the other day, nobody's rang me since we retired. I said,
be careful what you wish for.
so, but isn't this true? We have to be careful what we say, don't we?
Yeah.
So she said, and he's upset. It's like somebody who's famous, isn't it? They're an actor, then they give up, and then nobody speaks about them, and nobody recognises them in the street, and they get upset.
And they miss it. Yeah.
So Andy's upset that nobody has.
Yeah.
So today, she's rang me today and then put me on to him, and he's coming to see my ceilings this week about painting them. Because he's old school, which is what we're talking about with nursing and everything, he wants to come and look at it, check I've got the right paint before he does it.
Yeah.
And then he will, then he will do the job.
Yeah.
But I think what we've lost is that old school training that doesn't leave you. It's your basics in everything. I think the basics have gone. This is what I'm trying to say myself, is the basics in nursing, education, or catering works where you're people based, people orientated. We've lost the basics.
Public services.
But
not, you're right, not just public services, but human engaged interactions of all kinds. Yeah.
So your first port of call is good morning, how are you?
Yeah. So
if we're in a hospital, that's what you want. That's what you want from the nurse.
Yeah.
Good morning, how are you? Are you okay? We'll get you right. And people say to me now, what do you think about nurses? And I say, well, the old-fashioned uniforms to me were great, and that's what I had, the cap. I had to wear the cap and the apron and the cuffs. And they say, well, and what else would you change? I said, I would have them in a proper uniform. And what else would you change? I would stop people using their names. They're a nurse. Nobody needs to know your name.
Yeah.
So on a children's ward...
So it's become too informal.
Too informal, yes.
Too relaxed.
So in a children's ward, they want the nurse.
Yeah.
They don't want Mary, who comes looking in a dress similar to the cleaner, except it's a different colour.
Yeah.
She wants the nurse with the apron on.
Yeah, so a uniform that almost signifies like a superhero.
It does,
like a superwoman, Superman.
That's right, yeah. And the same with the fireman.
Yeah.
Or the policeman.
Yeah. They are important.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's important, and that's your pride. Your pride should be in your job.
Yeah.
So you must say whether you're a gardener, whether you're what you are, your pride should be in how you look in that job.
Yeah.
Are you the right? When people see you, they go, I'm so pleased.
Yeah. We're coming towards the end, Anne,
Yeah.
and there's so much that we can talk about in the weeks to come. I feel maybe to round it up on, it's if we derive our value from how much money we earn, or in terms of social media, how many likes or shares or followers we have, it's relevant to a degree, but it's not really truthful of a character. It doesn't give any indication of any moral fibre or of any inner worth. Now, you all listening, everybody has the potential to be of enormous, unlimited moral fibre, moral worth, goodness. That potential is unlimited in everybody. To be the best that you can be with what you've got, with what you have in any given time, there's something beautiful about that. And we've lost the simplicity of that thought. I probably didn't articulate it very well there, but the integrity of a job well done, and the integrity of doing something to the best of your ability, and the satisfaction that comes from that, and sharing that with the world, even if it's the most simple of tasks, even if it's the most simple of physical tasks, and even if nobody sees it, but you just know that people are going to walk past it, that you've just sorted a flower bed out, or I don't know, swept away something. I'm talking about the very simple things that are so important and truly are valued. It isn't something that somebody's going to give you a round of applause for. It's something that you may not gain any recognition for, but you can take a quiet satisfaction in knowing that people will take pleasure and appreciate that it's done. And therefore, the responsibility is for all to uphold that in all our areas of our lives, that we all have a part to play and we all have a role to take up. But we also have a responsibility to recognise a job well done, give praise and credit where it's due, point out where it's not, and support each other and encourage each other and create that sense of positivity and momentum and a sense of unity and togetherness and community. We must encompass this together, because if we don't partake and participate both in the giving and sharing of life, in providing the service, in receiving the service, and making those interactions truthful, honest, integral, and genuinely good, life can't and won't move towards where we'd like it to be. And I'm sure where you all listening, where it would like to be as well. And we can control that to a very large degree. We can set the tone. We can set the tone. We can decide how we feel and how we're going to make others feel in intention. Now, it may not always end up like that. People aren't always going to react how we hope, and people aren't always going to like what we think they'll like, and people aren't always going to take what we have to say, or we take what other people have got to say. Sometimes we don't always like what we hear, especially when it's true, maybe. But over the course of time, it's a human relationship and a community that can be trusted, because it's based on truth, goodness, integrity, responsibility, standards, morals. It can be trusted. It stands up against pressure. It's based on everybody partaking. It's an ideology. It's a way of looking at things. And that's the opportunity. I hope I'm making some sort of sense. I hope so.
You are, yes. What I will say, and this is me personally, and nobody has to take it on board, and it's the way I feel, and I feel strongly about it, that being born onto this planet Earth, every single one of us, whether you're the king, whether you're the CEO, or whether you're the cleaner in a hospital, we're all here to serve.
Absolutely, and everybody has their part to play.
Yeah.
And everybody...
And that's important for me.
Absolutely, I 100% agree with you. And from a perspective of the collective, everybody's as equally important, but doesn't provide an equal role. And what I mean by that, everybody doesn't literally do the same job, but we appreciate everybody for what they do and how they do it, and we all have our part to play. And let's support each other in that.
From the toilet cleaner to the king, we're here to serve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's unite and work together and live together.
And I'm more interested in the toilet being clean than the king.
Well, we absolutely appreciate that. I appreciate it. And we all sometimes
especially
have
after
to get...
being in India, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you for waiting, if you have done, for this afternoon's podcast. If you haven't and you're listening during the week, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So...
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. And as always, we will look forward, and we do look forward to being with you again next Sunday, speaking with you again next Sunday. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.